दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। आप सब मेरे पीछे बोलिए हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, good evening to everyone. I am very grateful to the organizers of this event who have invited me on this beautiful evening of Janmashtami. It's nice to see all of you in person. Last 2 years, I have been associated with you on the digital platform during the lockdown. It seemed as if that time is never going to end. But now seeing all of you in person and seeing the hustle and bustle all over India, it seems as if COVID never happened. Last whole week I was traveling to various holy places from Vrindavan, Prayag, Varanasi and so many other places. The crowds are unparalleled than ever before. Lot of hope and enthusiasm again comes. One thought does come. This thought was there when COVID first struck, that will everything come back to normal? Seeing the situation all over India and also seeing the extreme change in the environment due to the rise of social media, due to the rise of online involvement of students, it seemed that now the temples will be empty, the audiences will never be interested in coming for spiritual events and so on. We also assume that now it is a shift to online, so everything is going to go online. To our biggest surprise, after things opened up, was dealing with the crowds. So in a way it's nice. It also gives some hope that people have not got used to the impersonal way of living, which is online. Last year when we were forced, my profession has also been in the media, but I am very much averse to being in front of the camera. Many years those people who knew me, they have been asking me, why don't you speak something online, why there are no recorded lectures of yours on YouTube and so on. So I have always consciously tried to avoid, but last year we were forced to come online. And all of you must have experienced, especially those who have been giving lectures or conducting sessions, many of you are professors. Here also everything was online. When the people to whom you are speaking, they don't show up, you don't get the enthusiasm to teach as well. So many times when I would do the satsang program, I would request people to switch on their cameras. sometimes people would be so oblivious in their own world that when they would switch on the cameras, I would see that somebody is on the bedroom, on the bed with ganji, banyan, and he switches on the camera. Somebody is in the kitchen doing something, mother is shouting to the child, something or the other used to happen, seeing that. I was so frustrated. First of all, you cannot see people, and when you request people, they are in their own world. I had to then request that please turn off your cameras. And that was the beginning of the whole lockdown experience, that you only see names but you don't see people at all. As things started opening up, one of the satsangis, they came to our center and told that we want to attend programs in person, because all the time we are only counting the number of whistles in our cooker in the kitchen when the lecture is going on. I told them that good you didn't tell me earlier, otherwise I would have got discouraged. So it's nice to see people in person on this occasion of Janmashtami. Every individual has two aspects. One is the person and the other is the personality. Person is what you are and what all the different aspects of your nature, that is what is a person made up of. Personality is something which is imposed upon you by someone else based on the perception they create about you or they have about you. Person is what that individual actually is, and personality is what others think what you are. Now, personality can always be more positive or more negative. Personality does not always match to the individual person. Interestingly enough, most of us are not interested in our own person itself. We are interested in our personality. We are interested to create an identity of us based on how others will see, how others will perceive. What will I become after 20 years? What should I be seen as after 20 years, and so on. So essentially, all of us are trying to build a personality of ourselves. That's what it is. And in fact, this is also all about, whenever we speak about the Dasha avatars or different aspects of God, that is also all about that. It's about personality. Every single avatar per se is rarely known by its core persona. It's more known by the personality. I'll give you an example. How do you know, how do you perceive or how do you know of Nursing Dev? Can you give some answers? What is the brand Nursing Dev made up of? Fears. Yes. What else? Protection. Correct? What is the brand Varaha made up of? I am talking in modern terms. Brand Varaha. Strength. What else? When you hear about Varaha Dev, what comes in your mind? That is the personality of Varaha Dev. Don't talk about, when I speak about Varaha Dev, I see a boar. No. He rescued the whole earth. So what is the feeling which comes? Sustenance or stability, some sense of foundation. When you talk about Kurma, what is the thought that comes? Stability, not the thought of a tortoise. When you talk about Ram, what is the thought that comes in your mind? Satyavachani, extremely responsible person. Yes. Role model, very good. Now when you think of Krishna, what is the brand that comes in your mind? Out of box, okay. Now when we talk of something called a brand or a personality, you cannot have a personality with too many features, right? Branding means, let's say there is a brand Virat Kohli. Then nobody associates Kohli with cooking. Probably he may be a great cook than being a great cricketer. But the brand is always associated with one single quality which is extraordinary, which is unparalleled, right? That is what is personality made up of. So what is Krishna's personality made up of? What is the brand Krishna? Playful, okay. Wise person, okay.
Teacher, Guru.
Teacher, yes. Naughty, very good. Nutcut, very good. Yes. So when you come to Krishna, you see that this aspect of personality and branding really doesn't fit exactly, right? You cannot fit Krishna with one specific quality. And more interesting is that while I was speaking about different avatars, there were only one quality which was being spoken and hardly one or two spoke. But as soon as it came to Krishna, even a small child had an answer. That brand of Krishna which is so strong, which appeals to the child, there is a brand of Krishna which is so strong, which appeals to a teenager, there is a brand of Krishna which appeals to the wise people, there is a brand of Krishna which also appeals to the politicians. During my travels, I had met one of the very popular politicians of India, who is also favorite of many of us probably. So in the discussion, we came across one thing. So I observed that it is interesting that Krishna did so much politics in his entire life. The aspects of love were only restricted to first 7 years of his life. After that, all he did was ruthless, brutal, uncompromised, unapologetic politics. Lord Ram, he was a bit different. He rarely did any politics in his entire life. In fact, he played the part of being the victim of politics. Yet, the Indian political scenario is controlled by Lord Ram and not by Krishna. The one who did politics is still known as the lover of the gopis. One who did no politics, उनके नाम पे अयोध्या ये सारी राजनीति, all the whole Hindutva politics is running around Lord Ram. How this works is not understood. So I said that how is it that you guys have made Lord Ram as role model? So he told me, he said, ये तो लोगों के लिए है, क्योंकि भारत की राजनीति राम के नाम पे चलती है. But as politicians we know कि राम की तरह राजनीति की तो वनवास ही जाना पड़ेगा. तो हम एक्चुअल राजनीति कृष्ण की तरह ही करते हैं, बोलने के लिए राम के नाम पे चलाते हैं. So when he said this, I found it very interesting. And this is also very important for all of us to know. Many of us, whenever we think about God or we speak about Ram, Krishna and all of them, just like for children we do these dramas, we associate more from a feel-good factor, cultural perspectives. But it is also important to understand these personalities in the current context. Just like when Ram was there, when Krishna was there, there were different kinds of inimical forces, There were demons, Rakshasas those times. And the whole aspect, the whole importance of Krishna Leela or Ram Leela is only because these two avatars specifically have appeared to teach us dealings with this world amidst the whole spectrum of positive and negative. For example, when you talk about Narsimdev, Varahadev and so many other incarnations, there is no analysis that you can do. These avatars did not come with a very big philosophical baggage or a message. They came specifically to kill and set one particular order. One Leela, that was their avatar. When these two incarnations, specifically Ram and Krishna, they came, they appeared as human beings. Just so that to give us a reference, to create a reference in our lives. They did not behave like gods, although they had power like God. Although they did some aspects which were like God, but they did not explicitly behave like God. Why is that? Because when a person, or let's say when God only behaves like God, then He will not be able to give us a proper message per se. In our day-to-day life, we have lots of ups and downs which we go through. We need to clearly define what is dharma and what is adharma. We need to define who are our enemies, who are our friends, who are in the grey zone, and so on. Just like an ordinary human being has the whole spectrum of all these kind of things. And without us having a reference point of someone who deals with this whole mess of life, we will not get a clear understanding on how to navigate our lives. And this is why it's very, very important about these two incarnations of Ram and Krishna. Specifically, today is Krishna Janmashtami. So I would like to speak on that more. As far as Krishna is concerned, actually in the beginning, I don't know how many of you were here. One of the members here, he spoke about Dwarka and its archaeological evidence and so on. So you must have seen, those of you who were there, where there was a line which came that Krishna created Dwarka in the sea because of Kalyavan and other enemical forces. Now this was a very strategic point. Krishna and his own family members were being attacked by enemical kings from all sides. So Krishna thought that let me create a fort in the sea where the access will be only from one side, access to the land, and rest all is all water. So enemies won't come from three sides. So it's a very practical consideration that I have to only deal with enemies coming from one side because rest all is water. Now when this thing comes, any person who is a social reformer, this pastime, this Leela will strike him. If Krishna was God, could he not create a kingdom in a way that nobody could touch it from any side? He could have done. But why didn't he do that? If Krishna could lift Govardhan, then what was this? If Krishna could kill Putana and Aghasur and Kaliya, what was this? Why does then Krishna do this? Till 7 years of age, as long as that innocence was there and he was doing that Leela, he was doing all these extraordinary things. As soon as he started moving to teenage and then later age, he started behaving like any ordinary person. Behaving with full strategy, full wisdom. Actually, it's nothing but Krishna is trying to tell us, he's trying to teach us this very, very important thing. What? That one cannot outsource one's own responsibility upon God. If you have people who just believe in God for the sake of, because He's God, and they believe only in Krishna because He's all powerful and all that remains is rituals, then you will have a civilization which is very unqualified, which is not competent, because the competency is outsourced to God Himself. And this is what Krishna does not want. Therefore, as soon as he crossed 7 or 8 years of age, he wound up that leelas, those kind of leelas where he used to do mystical things, magical things, he stopped doing. And he started engaging with the world, making even the most competent people rise up to their standard. The most spectacular discussion which comes in the Mahabharata as the Bhagavad Gita is an example of such a principle, where Arjun, who is a highly capable person, a warrior, who has learned all his skills to fight. In fact, it was Krishna only who taught Arjun. It was Krishna who gave all the ideas basically to Arjun, that if you want to fight this particular opponent, you need this weapon from this devata and this devata and this devata. Krishna could have said that, okay, I am God, so I am giving you all the weapons. But he did not do so. He made Arjun earn for the weapons from the respective gods. Then, after that, in fact, I say this all the times, he did not shoot a single arrow for the sake of Arjun. Not a single arrow. In fact, all of you who know Mahabharata know that Abhimanyu died. Arjun was bewildered. He blamed Krishna that you are Paramatma residing in the heart of every living entity. You would have known that Abhimanyu is dying. I was fighting for dharma. I am fighting a righteous battle. Why didn't you save him? You could have saved him. Why couldn't you do this? We'll not get into that argument. But through all these episodes we see here that Krishna did not rob Arjun of his Purushartha just because Arjun is his devotee. And that is the essence of Krishna avatar. For those who are devotees of Krishna or followers of Krishna, you have a great responsibility upon yourself to become more and more competent in all aspects of life. Because Krishna, especially, he is not such a God that he is going to you do something in a very ritualistic way and then he's going to absolve you of that. Of course, matters of forgiveness, blessings, all these things are a different subject matter. But as far as competency is concerned, one must strive to his capacity to the fullest. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. The whole concept of yoga or perfection. Krishna, through this one word called yoga, he teaches Arjun this, he shows Arjun this aspect. That just integrating your body, your mind, your intellect, and your very self, you can come to the level of perfections which you would yourself not have imagined. And that level of perfection is the Swarup of Bhagavan himself. That is the nature of God himself. That is the whole message which we get through the Bhagavad Gita. So on this day of Janmashtami, without delaying further, because we are already too delayed, I would like to wish all of you a great success in your spiritual and material endeavors in the light of Dharma. May the blessings of Krishna be amongst all of you. Hare Krishna.